So if we were to cut these tenons first, and maybe we cut the tenon 9mm, that's fine, but on our mortise machine, we haven't got a 9mm chisel to match that. So the idea is you cut the 12mm mortise with the 12mm mortise chisel you've got, or the closest you've got to a third of the thickness of the timber. And then when you cut your tenon, you make your tenon fit that mortise, because the tenon can be any size, because that's done with a tenoning machine, and we can infinitely adjust that tenoning machine to remove the waste top and bottom and leave whatever tenon we want. Okay, so we can't adjust the mortise, but we can adjust the tenon. So we do the mortises first and make the tenons to fit those. So the mortise machine, how do we set this up? There's not many settings. The first thing to note is the isolation button is there. So basically, if you can see through there, well, there's a padlock in there, the machine's isolated. We've got the start stop button. Okay. So we'll hit the isolation button and we can mess about with it. Okay, so what do we got? If I turn the wheel to the right, and the bed goes to the right. To the left, goes to the left. Backwards and forwards, that way. Then I need to adjust this one. Okay, so firstly, number one, undo the clamp. Turn this one, we turn it clockwise, and the chisel goes to the right. If I turn this anti-clockwise, goes to the left. Always try and keep the chisel central to the clamp. So put your work in, use this to clamp, turning that clockwise. How do we set the depth? So the depth setting is all set on this. Okay, so when I pull the handle down, so that handle depth will only go as far down as that stop. So you can loosen this nut and you can set the depth of that chisel in relation to that. Face side always faces this fence. We need to set the depth. The initial depth is just over halfway. If I bring that up to there, that's not quite going halfway. So what I'll do is loosen this. Now, because that's loose, we can now move the chisel okay. So now that's sorted, we now need to adjust the chisel left and right. We know from the drawing that the rebate is 26mm from the face side. So if we were to turn that over, the back of the chisel needs to be 26mm to line up with the mortise and the tenon. Okay, this is the face side, which is the rebate side. So we're going to line the back of the chisel up to 26mm. Set that to 26mm from the face side to the back of the chisel, and that'll be fine. We'll set the distance that way. We're happy about the depth, so now we can do our through mortises. So centralise your joint in the cramp. Okay, and then we'll start mortising. So the order we do this in is I'll do the mortises first, all the way along on both sides, and then I'll come back, I'll set the depth for the haunches and I'll do them. And that way, hopefully we won't make a mistake. Start on the left. I will go in maybe 5mm, and then I'll step across half a chisel, go in 10mm, 15mm, and so on. If I get near the end of the mortise, I'll skip right across and do this end first, rather than just leaving a tiny bit there, because if you've got a tiny bit at the end of a mortise, it might well bend the chisel. So, power on. For this machine, I need eye protection and ear defenders. So wait for the chisel to stop. Put your hand on this end because that end will drop. Undo your clamp, slide that through. Put it central to your clamp. Retighten. Move to the left, start again. Wait for your chisel to stop. Okay, undo the clamp, slide it along, get that joint in the centre, push this down and start again. Once the chisel stopped, you can take that out, support this end, because if I just undo that clamp now, you'll see what happens. It rides up into the chisel, and that's another reason for letting your chisel stop before you start unclamping it. So when you take this out, you need to rotate it that way and slide it back in. And I'll start again at the far end, put that central to the clamp, clamp that up. Now you notice on this side, there's no haunches. So we'll set the chisel depth now for the Hodge. Bring that down. So, get your pencil now and just clean out these mortices. When you've finished that exercise, you should have, let's just check, you've got your face side, you've got your haunch mortise and tenon at the top, you've got the opposite of that there, you've got your gun stock twin tenon in the middle and your twin tenon twin haunch at the bottom. The thing to check is, if you put them together, face edges facing each other, touching, and on the outside you shouldn't have any haunches cut. They're just mortises on the outside of the door. Okay? And conversely, on the inside of your door, you should have your mortises and your haunches. Okay? So if all that's fine, then we can move on to doing the tenons.